All right, Shalom. Coming back at it again with the part two of the lesson, Be Ye Vigilant. All right, and just picking up from where I left off. These elites. Ultimately the reason why, they're out of nowhere. Just cracking down on this and trying to censor, and control, the media, the internet. Is because ultimately they want a controlled narrative when they, usher out or usher in. The CHIP. They want it to be smooth sailing. All right, and I said, on the part one, that us in this knowledge, we're the number one threat when it comes to that, not on a carnal sense, but on the spiritual sense. Dealing with this knowledge. When we go out there, we teach, and prophesy. All right, because we're the main ones that's, speaking of this in truth. You know what I'm saying? We're the main ones that's, taking the scriptures, reading them, all right, and lining it up with what's going on, and ultimately, the agendas that these devils are, coming out with. You know what I'm saying? And it irks these devils. It terrifies these devils. That's why they, crashing down. You know what I'm saying? On the truth ultimately. Because even though this dude, Alex Jones, even though he's an agent, he's controlled opposition, they're using him, all right, in order to enable their countermeasures to come against this truth, ultimately. You know what I'm saying? And it's just going to, pick up and pick up. Ultimately, it's going to lead to, Amos 8 and 11, the famine of the word. All right, but, countermeasures are already being taken, you know what I'm saying, to try and hinder this thing, which really there's nothing the devil could do against the truth, but for the truth, because ultimately the elect is going to be sealed regardless. Whether it be through, a lesson, on YouTube or a miracle happening, right in front of them, and they, come in, they get converted and they believe. Ultimately, Esau got no power in the matters of the heavenly things, concerning Yahweh Shem Shai, his elect, and his prophecies. You know what I'm saying? And that's, how Yahweh Shem Shai, ultimately programmed, Esau to be, to be a prideful, devil, just come against the truth, be the bad guy, be the antagonist, but we already know how this story goes. We already know how this movie ends. All right. So with that, we're going to go, hit a few scriptures. All right. And we're going to close it out. Okay, so first scripture we're going to go to is the book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse, let me see. All right, verse 11. All right, and it reads, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Shem Shai entered into them. All right, now this them is talking about the two witnesses, which are the elect of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, each witness representing their respective kingdoms of Israel. All right, because Israel has been divided, since the ancient times, into a northern kingdom, which is the kingdom of Samaria, all right, and the southern kingdom, which is the kingdom of Judah. All right, hence that's where you get the term Jew from. Okay, so these two witnesses, here in Revelation 11, represents them. All right, and when it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Shem Shai entered into them. All right, that's talking about us coming back into the truth. 3 days and a half, basically 350 years. All right, that's what that represents. Of being into our captivity. All right, as a whole. Okay, being in hardcore slavery, transatlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? Latinos, so-called Latinos going through, their captivity. Being oppressed and marginalized, things of that nature. Living in poverty. Right, the spirit of life from Yahweh Shem Shai entered into them, meaning we came into this truth, man. After 3 days and a half, it started with the One West camps, starting with Abba Bivens, and the legacy goes on. So it reads, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, so ever since we came into this truth, all right, and we woke up to who we are as a people, and as this truth progressed. This is one of the things that this devil was not able to knock. You did have camps that were wicked, and they for the most part, they're not around. You know what I'm saying? But now you have, brothers that's teaching 100% truth, man. You have Yahweh Shem Yahushai that set up, righteous teachers to teach and lead the Akim, to lead Israel, basically. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? That's what that represents, man. Just being in this truth. All right, doing the work with all truth and sincerity. Okay, and the last part it says, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, and that's going into these heathens. All right, great fear fell upon them because they know where their downfall. All right, especially these Edomite elites. They know where their downfall. All right, they know Yahweh Shai. Like they see, the different images, that NASA, reports to them. You know what I'm saying? All them cameras that they got, in the atmosphere. They captured the chariots. You know what I'm saying? It was a big, chariot sighting recently. You had that so-called Hispanic dude. He was, bugging out. Recording it. The NASA live streams. Just fleets of chariots. On their way to Earth, basically. So these devils know. That these devils know what time it is. These devils know what's coming to them. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, man, when they see us out there in the streets, they get fearful, man. All right, they get fearful because they know about Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They know how he is when it comes to the elect. So ultimately they're gonna try whatever they can to try to hinder and stop this truth, but it's gonna be to no avail. All right, they're going, they trying everything they can to try and disappoint